Good evening, and welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families.
And I'm Merrill Hutchinson, President of Rock Solid Families. And we are excited to have you join us for the next 30 minutes as we talk about relationships. A huge shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to Maxwell Construction, Greendale Cinemas, Mansfield Insurance Agency, and Erie Insurance. We are so thankful for these businesses who have made this show possible. So whether you are listening live or online, Rock Solid Radio, helping to strengthen our community, one family at a time on your hometown radio, Eagle Country 99.3.
Good evening, Eagle Country. Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, Executive Director of Rock Solid Families. Hun, can you believe we're already in our final week of June?
My favorite month. My favorite month for a lot of different reasons.
Well, your birthday's already done. We already celebrated that last week.
But it was a good one. It was a
right.
good one. So,
it's crazy how fast summer goes, though. And I know for many, summer doesn't mean much of a break for you. Maybe you work all year long and the summer days are no different. But tonight, we want to talk about how important it is that we build in, honey, intentional time, intentional margin in our day, our week, and our year. Yeah. So tonight's topic, if you're just tuning in, is the importance of rest.
Yeah, it's almost... the more that we've kind of prepped and stuff for this in personal training in the fitness world, I remember back in the 80s and 90s, it was always about how much you could work out, how much you could lift, and basically stress the body. And in the 2000s, we have really seen the change in your rest is equally, if not more important than your work, because without the rest, you won't be able to sustain the work. Right. And so we're going to go down that road today with just daily living. Yeah,
we're not talking just physically, but emotionally, relationally, professionally, to have those breaks and take those vacations. So if you have a slave driver for a boss, maybe you should send them this link.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, you are my boss.
Only on paper.
That's right. But maybe you should send them this link and let them listen to what we're going to be talking about tonight. This is an important message for anyone, regardless of your age or your circumstances.
Yeah.
But before we get going, hon.
Yeah, so we better thank our sponsors. So, without our sponsors and without your contributions, your support, Rock Solid Families and Rock Solid Radio are not going to exist. And so we appreciate very much. We've seen a lot of generous donations here in the last month or so. People seeing what we're doing and believing what we're doing, the number of families that we're helping. I say we're helping. God's using us. Absolutely. It was laid on our heart, and we believe that was laid on our heart by God. And so we're plugging away, but always bills to pay and stuff like that. So we want to thank Maxwell Construction, Greendale Cinemas, Mansfield Insurance Agency, and Erie Insurance for their support. Yeah. And we just want to continue to reach out there and ask for your support.
Yeah, I mean, hun, we almost have, and we might by now, by the time this airs, 1,000 likes and followers on our Facebook page. So if you have not, like our Rock Solid Families Facebook page, or you can go to our website anytime, rocksolidfamilies.org. Also, if you are into Spotify, you can get Rock Solid Radio on Spotify. Follow it and get all of our podcasts, the ones of today, but also previous shows. We've got quite a library now.
Yeah, and we just remind you that we touch on the topics of faith, family, and fitness, anything in that area. So if there's a particular area that you personally or your family is struggling with, we encourage you to scroll quickly down through there, and we try to get our titles to represent a little bit about what we're talking about.
We don't want to be too sneaky.
Yeah, we're not always perfect about that, but scroll through there or shoot us a message. I know now we're at a point where when we're working with a couple, we'll say, hey, by the way, listen to this show, because this has a lot of information that might get you thinking. And we
know there's listeners out there, there's topics we have not covered, so if there's something that you want to hear us talk about, please shoot us a message, put it on our Facebook page. We would love to address things that are important to you.
Yeah.
Hun, our finishing classes, we teach in our office a fitness class 6 days a week. And now is the time to get in shape. The shorts and the T-shirts are here. So it's a great opportunity not just to work out, but to be around positive people who lift you up and support healthy habits. Hun, we sweat together and we pray together.
Yeah, you know what's been cool about this? We say this on other shows too, but Fitness is something you can do on your own, and that's typically probably the way I've done most of this in terms of working out in my life. But there's other components, and that is a camaraderie, the setting. And that's what I think you and I are finding more and more enjoy in what we do in our classes. The prayer time, the talk time, the idea that, okay, we just sweat, and now we're going to get in and, anybody have anything on their mind?
Yeah.
What's pressing you? So
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m. I teach a morning class, and then Tuesday, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Merrill teaches evening, and then Merrill teaches a Saturday at 9 a.m. It's at our St. Leon office.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you.
Hey, we announced this last week too, but we're getting closer.
You're
we're
such
doing.
a tease.
I know.
Put
This
it out.
tease.
I'm going crazy.
So we not only do a Strong Dads workout, which will be coming up here in August, but we are going to be releasing a Strong Dads podcast, and just really getting excited about this. I introduced last week my partner in this, Kyle Crawford. Kyle's a good man. He's a young dad. You know what? I'm almost twice his age.
No.
That's
I know.
just
He's
crazy.
the age of almost
so
our son.
I'm the old fart, and he's the young buck. But
Although, I think this is so funny because I think we were hoping that this young buck would bring on this social media millennial
he'd
presence.
have a proudness about him.
Yeah.
He's like a knucklehead. And I was teasing him. I'm like, Kyle, you don't know anything about being a dad yet. You're too young. You bring me some technology. And he starts laughing like, I don't even know how to do that.
He's more technology challenged than you are.
But he's a fireman and a paramedic, and he works in the city. And he sees some crazy stuff. He reminds us a lot of our own older boys, and so he's adding a really neat flavor to what we're doing. So we will announce the release of that podcast for our dads here coming up here, probably mid to late July. We're looking to start putting those out.
Stop teasing us. I'm
so
excited
it's
for it
part
to come
of
out.
it. Yeah. So anyway, let's go take a vacation. Why are we doing this topic?
Well, we talked about this back in the fall. If you tuned in when we talked about finding balance, the excuse that most people will give when you ask them about taking some time off is, "Hun, I'm too busy." 54% of American workers admit to not even using all of their vacation time. And then a fourth of American employees don't even get any paid vacation. So they feel like they can't afford to take any vacation time. Hun, the U.S. is one of the few developed countries that don't even have any kind of mandatory vacation time by employers. So in many people's minds, they're convinced that there are just too many things to get done, too many demands, too many responsibilities, too many bills, too many urgencies. We're just living in such a fast pace.
Yeah. Well, so this strikes a chord with me because I love vacation, right? And you and I we came from families that went on vacations. Both of us did. And vacations have a kind of a special place in our life. Yeah. And we have very much protected that in our own life with our kids. And there are so many reasons for this. One is just memories, right? I mean, our older boys still talk about the Colorado vacation and stuff like that. But I really find it interesting that people would not want that as a priority. It's kind of like a savings account, and you are saving something. You're restoring or rebuilding energy and things like that. So I find that kind of interesting. But I think sometimes it's that whole tail wagging the dog. You let your life get so busy, whether it's work or whether debt you've accumulated or busyness, kids, sports schedules, whatever. And the next thing you know, the tail's wagging the dog.
Yeah, and I do believe that employers are putting so much pressure on their employees. We're in this result-oriented world where people feel like if they take off, they can't afford to take off because they're going to be left behind, that maybe they'll be looked over by a promotion or, be replaced in their work. So unfortunately, this hectic pace is really causing damage to our quality of life. Physically, more ulcers, more high blood pressure, more heart attacks. Emotionally, the stress and anxiety and depression that is happening, the suicide rate that is just unbelievable. Spiritually, it's
Can we
crazy.
say it doesn't even really matter where you work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it In industry, we've seen it in churches.
Yeah.
We've seen it everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
And you bring up a good point. We do need numbers to help us figure out. I mean, we look at numbers in our own business to see, okay, is this time well spent? Are we doing what we need to do? But when numbers dictate, all of a sudden you as a person are not a number. Right, you have so many different things that steal your energy, and sometimes there are things that you can't even measure. You could be super, super productive, smart, energetic, but you have a death in the family, and all of those things now take a back burner.
Yep.
And so that A player that you were, now maybe you're a C player, and the numbers drop. And your energy drops. And so those are the things that we just have to be aware of. People are not products. And we have to take care of the people who produce those products.
Yeah, mind, body, and spirit. You know, in America, we're running faster and we're working harder, but we're falling further and further behind. We're finding ourselves strapped. And you know, what's the old Loverboy song, hon? Everybody's working for the weekend.
You're going back.
I won't start singing it.
Yeah,
but,
everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah, and most Americans today are working to try to get rest. What if we looked at it, hon, the other way around?
Yeah.
What if we looked at our lives like farmers look at fields? Just like farmers rotate their crops and they rest their fields, they actually found that they get more harvest, a greater harvest, if they rest their fields, if they rotated their crops. So what if we did the same thing, hon? What if we intentionally built in times of rest in order to bear more fruit, to be more productive?
Yeah. Well, it's, this is not rocket science. Your body does not have an unlimited amount of energy and strength, and we see
No, it does not, and it doesn't get any better as you get older.
No. Well, it's funny. So I like to ride bikes, and I rode about 4 days in a row.
Pedal bike.
Yeah.
That takes energy.
Yeah, and so I rode about 4 days in a row, and on the fourth day, this was this past week, I was just like zonked, and I'm thinking, why am I even out here?
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, it's time for rest. Your body is screaming at you.
Yes.
So I took 2 days off, and I went back yesterday, and I rode, and I felt like a new man.
Yep.
And it was just like the reminder that your body has a limited amount of energy.
Yep.
And so this is the same thing. Bosses out there, if you're a manager or a boss, you want your people to work hard for you. Yeah. But if you want them to work hard for the long haul, please encourage them. Encourage them to take productive rest.
Yeah. And you said this isn't rocket science. This isn't new stuff. That's not how God designed us to be. Even Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, took time to be alone with his heavenly Father and rest. Yeah,
when he was tired and hungry, the last thing he wanted to do was be around a lot of people. He'd go off and escape by himself and rest.
Yeah.
That is the physical body that we live in.
Yeah, many lives have become too full and too out of balance, and somewhere along the way, we lost that crucial practice, hon, of intentional rest. And like I said before, Jesus modeled this, but hon, even before Jesus, God set the tone of how life was supposed to go from the very beginning of time.
Yeah.
Back in the days of creation, Genesis chapters 1 and 2, God created the world, hon, in how many days? This is always a trick question.
6.
Even though 7 days of creation, he really did the work in 6 of those days.
Yeah.
And the 7th day was
his day of rest. We call the Sabbath.
Yeah, the Hebrew word of that actually means to cease, to stop work. God did not have to rest. He didn't get tired, but he stopped working. And so resting, it means that we've got to intentionally cease work.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing. God commanded us in the 4th commandment to remember the Sabbath. He says to keep it holy. And it says in Exodus 20, where it talks about the 10 commandments, it says, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, your son, your daughter, neither male or female. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, but he rested on the 7th. Therefore, the Lord blesses the Sabbath and made it holy.
This was so much part of our culture 40 or 50 years ago. I clearly remember on the weekend, we'd work like crazy in the yard or do whatever we need to. And I clearly remember on Saturday afternoons, my mom and dad saying, hey, make sure your car's got gas in it because tomorrow when we go to run to church or go to visit grandma or grandpa or whatever, we're not going to be able to get gas on Sunday.
Because most
Everything's
things were closed. Yeah.
And so, again, this is one of those things where the numbers, making more money, our busyness, just that commercialism overtook
oh my gosh.
the meaning of the Sabbath.
Yeah.
And the Sabbath is not to just, the Sabbath is the appreciation of God, right? And just like, hey, I need to just like stop and be thankful. But it's also a time for you to allow, some families don't even eat a meal together. And, and if we would go back in time, a lot of times Sunday was
meals,
the big meal together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
I hate that when you were talking about stores and commercialism. I mean, I think of all the stores that are open now on like Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day. And I'm like, oh, this is so sad. There's no rest. There's no breaks for those workers,
Right, and so I think we have to be careful because this is where, okay, I'm not going to go out and tell all the stores to shut down, right? We don't want to get political and governmental control involved in this. You have the right to say how your family's going to run.
That's right.
And
or your business. I mean, I think of Chick-fil-A closed on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. You make a
Hobby Lobby,
statement and say, you know what, guys, for our family, Sundays we're going to chill.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to do this on this kind of day. And so please do not be the victim of these things.
Right.
Be empowered.
Right.
Make these breaks, these vacations, make them a necessary part of what you do. And let your kids see that.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about the importance of rest, Hun, in these different areas. So physically, you mentioned about resting the body and physical activity. Why is that so important? What's happening when you rest?
So, just from physical activity, the body goes through a lot of changes. When you are physically busy, using your muscles and those kind of things, it gets broken down.
Yeah.
The cool thing about your body, though, and this is just one of those things that the longer I taught biology and anatomy and physiology into high school level, I was like, how can you not believe in God?
I know.
How can you not? Your body is so amazing at how it responds. And so your body breaks down, and then if you give it the opportunity, it not just builds, but it builds up stronger.
Yeah,
and so that's how we get larger muscles, hypertrophy and stuff like that. And so if your body says, hey, this is what this guy keeps demanding out of me, your body wants to please you. And so your body will actually come back and be even better than before. And so that's the same thing with neurological work. You can stare and study for hours and hours and hours. I remember the first time I pulled an all-nighter. I totally bombed that. That was a physics exam.
That was not
I should have been
I know.
shot.
I should have just slept.
Yeah. You'd have been better off to sleep. At least you would have guessed better.
Speaking of sleep, you know how many hours right now it's recommended for adults, right?
20, 24? What do you... No.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
The numbers have always been right there around that 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep. And that's for us adults.
Yeah.
And again, we're all a little bit different.
Sure.
I want that 7 to 9.
Yeah.
You seem to be pretty effective still, and I'm just going to say 6 to 8.
Yeah, 7, yeah.
Yeah. Although I will see, you'll go days with 4 or 5 hours, but then all of a sudden you'll hit
crash.
like a crash and burn. And so your body's talking to you. Listen to it.
Yep. And our teens, they need 8 to 10 hours, so they need that extra hour. Kids in early elementary school, they say 10 to 11 hours of sleep, and obviously younger kids, more like 12 to 13 hours. And doctors report that just losing 1 hour of sleep deprivation, in a child, an adult, can cause irritability, frustration, difficulty focusing, so we have learning problems. Could it be, our technology today and the number of children, teens, and adults who are glued to a screen, and sometimes we take them to bed, could be affecting us physically and emotionally and academically?
Yeah, I don't want to get into the debate on whether ADHD is a real diagnosis or not, but one of the things that we do know is that if a kid is not well rested and well fed, properly fed, that these ADHD symptoms are magnified.
Exasperated, yeah.
Yeah, and so we see that with our own kids.
Yep.
And they do not want to go to bed at 9 or 9:30, but we know what they're like when they go to bed at 10 or 10:30 the next day. And so, when in the school setting, I can't even tell you the number of meetings that I was into where a kid was going to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock. There was a screen in their room.
Yeah.
And so, and the kids would make statements that,
Like,
I was watching TV at 1 o'clock or whatever, and you're
Yep.
thinking, oh my gosh. And now we wonder why they're in my office because
Sure.
they just got in trouble.
Going back to the vacation thing, hon, in a 20-year study, men who did not take regular vacations were 30% more likely to suffer a heart attack, and women were 50% more likely.
Yeah.
So your body, it physically needs a break.
Yeah.
But emotionally too.
Well, I think the emotional side is really important. And I have a lot of personal experience with this. We did a show once about anxiety disorder.
Yeah,
and
listen to that if you
that
haven't
hit
got a
very
chance.
close to home for us because that was one of my challenges and still continues at some level, but it's very much healthy and under control. But one of the things I noticed when I was really dealing with the stresses of anxiety, that if I was like even a little bit sleep deprived,
Toast, yeah.
it magnified the anxiety, the anger, the stress, because your body, your brain is trying to build up those serotonin levels, is trying to restore it, but you just keep sucking it dry by all of the activity. So emotionally, you got to take a break.
Yeah. And, if you're out there listening in Eagle Country, we're talking about the importance of rest if you've just started to tune in. But, a lot of people will say, oh, yeah, I go on vacation. But because of the 24-hour access people have to us, they take their phone with them, they take their laptop with them, they're working on the beach, they're working in the condo, they're working in the car. That's not rest.
Yeah.
You need to be able to break. You need to be able to unplug emotionally on a regular basis. And so many folks, hon, are wound so tight, they're about to snap.
Right. Well, there's a little thing that we need to touch on, especially with the emotional side of things. So a lot of us are not going to a healthy way to emotionally release. Maybe I'll go home and I like to drink a beer, but now all of a sudden I'm all fired up and just anxious or angry or whatever it is, and I'm going to 3 or 4 or 5 beers.
Yep.
And this is what I do my evening cocktail, right? That turns into 4, 5, 6 cocktails. And again, this is not an anti-alcohol talk. This is if you're putting in one chemical to help pull you back down,
that's not
and
rest.
That's how you're going to sustain yourself. That's not rest. That's exactly right.
And ladies, I'm going to talk to you and guys too, but I see a lot of ladies do this. They will think that resting is sitting on a couch and surfing the internet. They're on Pinterest, they're on, Facebook. That's not rest either.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself some white space, some margin in your mind and your emotions, to dream again, to think clearly, turn that, unplug that. That actually is increasing anxiety, increasing depression, irritability. It's not helping our brains rest.
Yeah. You just mentioned a word that just triggered me because just from our marriage and our relationship that I can be a dreamer. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've said to you is I know when I'm not healthy, when my dreams don't seem to pop up. And I know my dreams can drive you crazy at times, but when I'm saying dreams, I don't mean like dreaming in sleep. I mean like my creative
goals.
mind, like, all of a sudden I'm not thinking like, well, where do I want to be in 5 years? Or I like to build things. And all of a sudden, I have a little a folder of different plans that I've drawn and things I've built. And when I go, man, it's been 8 months since I've even drawn something. It's like, well, it's because your brain's everywhere else.
Yeah.
And so that dreaming.
Speaking of drawing, so our kids this summer are home, and we've pretty much made a rule, like the TV doesn't go on, the screens don't go on till, almost dinner time when we're starting to wind down. And that used to be their go-to in the morning. They'd all get up and watch TV. And it's really cool to see how that unplugged atmosphere and environment has really sparked their creativity. They're drawing and they're making little games. I saw them the other day had Monopoly spread out on the floor, and they're playing Monopoly in their jammies. It was so cool to see their creativity spark when they don't have a screen to plug into.
And again, it sometimes looks different. Like all of a sudden the house gets messy.
Yes, it
right?
does.
All of a sudden I
Yes,
walk in the
'cause
garage and there's bikes laying all over.
Yes.
And again, there's that parent side of me that's like,
Yeah.
clean this up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But you have to bite your tongue because there is something more productive coming out of this.
We're gaining 5 pounds because our daughter is baking.
Yeah, I kind of like that, but kind of not.
Yeah. So emotionally, we need that rest. Spiritually, hun, even Jesus withdrew from the crowd to be with his Father. You've got to give yourself time to pray, to read, to meditate, to reflect, just to listen to the Lord. We're not giving ourselves time. We're too busy.
There's a lot of white noise that just keeps banging on our head.
Yeah, got to unplug to be able to do that.
Yeah. We talk about this relationally. This is that whole date night thing. This is that whole idea of unplug from everything else and reinvest back in each other.
Yeah.
You're constantly, this is like a big old battery that starts to run empty. And if you don't put the recharge on, it will get exhausted. And that's how couples become distant to each other.
I've had couples who are on the brink of divorce say, we can't afford date night. I'm like, really? Have you looked at the price of a divorce right now?
Yeah.
Go pack a lunch and go to the park and walk around the lake,
Yeah, well, we just like to hop in the car sometimes and go for a drive.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of money to unplug. And as a matter of fact, the less, money involved, sometimes the more relaxing,
right. The less stressful.
To get a blanket and to go under a shade tree,
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, if you go on a date night and you go to someplace that's high energy and exciting, and that's not necessarily resting, right? I mean, so sometimes you just have to go enjoy each other's company.
That's why vacation to me, hun, is a beach and a book. I'm not a real great tourist when I'm like running around because I feel like I'm too engaged there. So definitely love a beach. Professionally, though, if you're listening, if you're a boss and your employee maybe sent this to you and you're listening here, you are more productive when you give yourself permission to step away and take a break. Research shows that those who do not take intentional breaks or vacations are sicker, less productive, stressed, and more anxious and depressed. So all of that affects us professionally. So, you as a professional employer, you've got to give your employees that break. You can't run them into the ground. You're not going to get more out of them that way.
Yeah. And again, all of this is done in goodwill. If I have an employee that is abusing breaks and is claiming that they need another break,
walking around the block every 15 minutes.
That's just garbage. And so we're not going to abuse this, but we do have to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
We got to get to our challenge. My gosh, the time is flying. So your challenge for this week, you guys, is to plan some rest, build some rest into your schedule. How about just throwing a vacation down? You and we threw a vacation time down on the calendar.
Yep.
And we know that talk is cheap, and we've talked about it, and we finally said, just pull the trigger.
Yep.
You've got to do it. And so we put a week on the calendar, and that's what we're going to commit to.
Yeah.
So stop the words and take the action.
Yeah. But by the way, it's not just once a year vacation. I'm talking about every day, giving yourself some white space in your day to relax and to read and to pray. You need to give yourself a Sabbath every week, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, whatever. And then every year, to get away from it all for that vacation, that break. So carve out time and make it happen. Do not expect it to happen haphazardly. That's not going to work that way.
Yeah. So, bottom line, take a break. All right, very good. Great show. Good stuff on here. We want to thank you guys. We just pray for you and your family that you're enjoying your summer, that you do make some memories. Let your kids and your family have a reason for just enjoying this summer. So, thank you for listening. Closing out here with a good thanks out there to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction, Greendale Cinemas, Mansfield Insurance Agency, and Erie Insurance. We want to thank these guys for helping us out. Let's get out there and make it a great vacation.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. For help or more information about what you've heard this evening, contact us at rocksolidfamilies.org or call us at 812-576-ROCK. That's 812-576-ROCK. Again, a huge thanks to our sponsors, Maxwell Construction, Greendale Cinemas, Mansfield Insurance Agency, and Erie Insurance. If you have questions you'd like answered on air, or you want to chime in on something you've heard this evening, go to our Facebook page, Rock Solid Families. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday evening at 7:30 for another episode of Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, and for my husband Merrill and I, thanks for tuning in to your hometown radio, Eagle Country 99.3.